we go back to the start of the world of A Quiet Place. Lupita Nyong'o stars in A Quiet Place Day 1. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my review for A Quiet Place Day 1. This is in theaters right now, doing very, very well, and it is the third installment of the Quiet Place franchise. John Krasinski directed the first two. I think he definitely wrote the first one. I think he wrote the second one as well. And he still is involved in this world. He's got a story by credit, and he is one of the producers. But this was directed by Michael Sarnowski. And he was sort of handpicked by Krasinski to be in the director's chair based on his directing this great Nicolas Cage movie from a few years ago called Pig. So that was his feature debut, and this is his follow-up. So we're going to talk about all this here in just a second. But first, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We do movie and TV reviews on the channel, and just about every day I post something new. So there's always a lot to check out, a lot going on. There's playlists on the homepage as well to sort of streamline your experience a little bit. But please consider subscribing, click that like button, comment below, and share on your socials. All that stuff, of course, helps the channel out, and I certainly do appreciate it. Okay, so A Quiet Place Day 1, like I mentioned, this is the third in the franchise, and we go back to the beginning. Aliens are just now getting to Earth, and we sort of saw a bit of this in the second installment, because John Krasinski, though he's not really featured very much in the second installment, we do have a little bit of a flashback, and we see sort of where he was when all this started, as we follow the rest of his family in the second one. But here we have a completely different, setting. We're in New York City, and Lupita Nyong'o plays this character, Samira, who is dying of cancer. She's got, terminal cancer. She is in hospice with a group of other people that are in her same boat. And we have Alex Wolff in a smaller role as one of her hospice care workers. He decides, you know what, we need to cheer some people up a little bit. Let's go take in a little bit of a puppet marionette show in the city. And, while there, he promises to get Sam a slice of New York pizza, and we're going to make a day of it. But shortly after the show is over, there are all these calls, for emergency workers and all of this. And he's on the phone with the hospice care people, and they're saying, hey, you got to get back. Something's going on in the city, this and that. And then, we as the audience, of course, know what's coming because ideally you've seen the other two movies. But they, of course, don't know what's going on. And she tries to fight him and says, no, I need this pizza. It's sort of my last wish here. Like, let's go. And it goes from there, and we see the aliens and all of this. So she picks up along the way Joseph Quinn, who plays Eric. He is an English law student, and I don't know, about a half hour into the movie or something, she finds him, and the two of them sort of team up. You may know him from Stranger Things, season 4. And then Jimin Hansu also has a bit of a role as well. Now, we met him in A Quiet Place Part 2, which I didn't honestly remember. I remember once I saw that, I was like, okay, totally remember, his presence being there. I didn't remember he was the one that played that role, but so he is the same role, in the Quiet Place universe, and that's another sort of connecting thread. So I guess that's all we'll talk about plot-wise, except for the cat. Oh, she's got a cat. And it is, her little service cat. She keeps him on a little leash, and he is just the cutest thing. And he is a real cat, not CGI. Apparently, there was some discussion about that behind the scenes. The studio wanted to do a fake CGI cat. Thank God that Krasinski and probably the director as well were like, hey, how about we not do that and let's have a real cat, because, he's a scene stealer. Oh, look, I'm a cat person, and my 2 cats passed away a year ago, so, anytime I see a cat, I'm like, oh, cat. Not like I wasn't before, but I'm so glad they used a real cat for this. There's actually 2 cats that play the cat, but interesting, because, in my universe of owning cats and being around cats, They like to meow, they like to make noises, but, since this is a service cat, I guess maybe he's a little better trained or something, because, of course, the bit, if you don't know with these Quiet Place movies, is you have to be quiet, because the aliens attack based on sound. They have these excellent hearing skills, and they're kind of blind, but they hear great, and that's how they attack. So I thought for sure, oh man, this cat is just going to start meowing or something. Not the case, thank God. So anyway, that is all we'll talk about story-wise. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. So like I said, this guy directed Pig previously, Michael Sarnowski. Pig is a great Nicolas Cage movie. It made my top 10 of 2021. And, just a really great, subtle kind of a movie. It's in that Nick Cage independent movie, dramatic movie kind of canon. This is sort of the same, because obviously this is a little bit more reserved in some of its techniques, because sound is such a huge influence and sort of plot point of these movies. But this is obviously a lot more bombastic than Pig was. This is really, an action / horror / thriller film. I would not put this really in the horror camp. Thriller for sure, and maybe action too. But so let's see. Let's talk about the positives here. I think this is directed well. I think there is a great use of sound, as there was, of course, in the other two films. And we're still discovering things that maybe can get by these aliens. There's a couple of things introduced here that I don't think we knew before. I've only seen I saw the first Quiet Place twice, but I saw the second one only one time. So I had to kind of think back, okay, did we know this about the aliens? But I think they introduced a couple of concepts here, and they're played out very, very well. I will say that. And so, yes, sound, and the elements just in general, are a huge part. Atmosphere is a huge part of this movie, and the whole franchise, really. And another positive, of course, is the Lupita Nyong'o performance. She already did a virtually silent performance in Us several years ago, the Jordan Peele movie, and she brings that back again. I don't think I've ever seen her give a bad performance. I mean, going back to, I guess 12 Years a Slave is probably the first time I saw her, but every time she pops up in something, she just gives a very, very impressive performance. She's got great mannerisms. She is working very well here because she has to be quiet. Her facial expressions, really tell a lot. And because she is battling cancer, she's also got some body issues of, pain and whatnot that she portrays, I think, beautifully as well. And her team up here with, what's the guy's name? Joseph Quinn. They have a good sort of companionship together on the journey. And of course, her and this cat are wonderful. And I love that the cat's name, by the way, is Frodo, because I think it is very, very appropriate with what's going on, because of course New York City is essentially reduced to rubble, and it looks very Middle Earthy, after the aliens get through with it. So I think it's pretty on point that the cat is named Frodo. And of course the cat, like I already mentioned, scene stealer for sure. But now the negatives. I really was hoping for more of a background about what is happening. We've gotten now, this is the third movie, and we still don't have any idea why these aliens are attacking, what they want, what other than to destroy Earth, but like, where did they come from? What brought them here specifically? Like, is there a specific reason they chose Earth, or New York City, or whatever? We get none of that. It's more question about the history of these creatures, and I guess I sort of mistakenly assumed that a project called Day One would sort of introduce some of those elements, especially because we did in the second movie see parts of the John Krasinski character sort of meeting the original fate with these aliens and what's going on. And also, one other sort of negative is, if I'm remembering correctly from the other movies, I think it took a little bit of time to figure out what these aliens are all about and that they are sort of so sensitive to sounds and all of that. Here, everybody seems to just know within a couple of minutes. They're like, okay, cool. Don't make a sound. The aliens are going to hear it and kill you. Okay, got it. And like everybody's on board. Yes, there's some helicopters that go over and sort of, megaphone down, like, okay, don't make noises, da 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 da. But again, it all happened very, very quickly, it felt like. And I think that's sort of a reversal of what we knew from some of the other movies. So look, this is still an enjoyable movie. It's definitely a welcome entry into the franchise, but a bit of a step down. Like the first Quiet Place for me is an A, the second one is an A minus. These are top tier horror and thriller films. This one, not quite in that camp, but still definitely worth a watch. I leave A Quiet Place day one with a B. All right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It, and we'll see you next time. Bye.